Put the needle on the record.
Brunson stops on a dime, launches. Oh yeah! Jalen Brunson buries it.
They give it to B. All right, here it is. Bernard looking for 50, and he's got it. Back-to-back 50-point games for Bernard King.
Now has Starks for Ewing. Ewing with the spin. Ewing, yes!
1 8 seconds remaining. The Knicks lead by 1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we finally got here. This is Tim. This is New York Knicks Unleashed, bringing you the New York Knicks Spurs Championship Preview Show. We're going to talk about how the Knicks can win this and how the Knicks will win this. I was going to talk about how San Antonio Spurs could potentially win, but we're not even going to get into that because you know what? We don't want to be delusional. We're going to hear from Mike Brown in reference to what's going on with Mitchell Robinson. We're going to hear a little bit from Josh Hart. We even may hear a little bit from Mr. Hartenstein or Stein, whatever you want to call him after. I call him Traitor. After he left the New York Knicks. But of course, this Wednesday, game 1 in San Antonio. It seems like the Knicks have been off for a year and a fucking half. But it's time, guys. It's time to get back. It's time to get in some basketball. Of course, Mitchell Robinson has the issue with the finger. And I'm not talking about that middle one. He's got an issue with the pinky. I guess he broke I think it's called the metatarsal, they're calling it, which is the bone that connects the pinky to the wrist. And I don't know what the fuck that means, but that sounds bad. That does not sound good to me. It is an injury that has been prevalent in the NBA, and those that have had the surgery, and he just had surgery a couple days ago, Mitchell Robinson, that is, some people have come back quickly. Some people have taken 4 to 6 weeks. We still have no fucking clue. How this man did it. They're being very cagey and very coy about what he did to damage his finger. Mike Brown also mentioned a few hours ago today that Mitchell Robinson did some individual stuff with something on his hand at practice today. But again, there's going to be no update for game 1. But let's hear a little bit about Mike Brown.
He did some individual stuff.
Yeah. Do you have any update on his availability for game 1?
I did not even ask, and I let him. I try not to even look at him.
I love the fact I don't even try to look at him because he fucked up, and we don't want to say what he fucked up about.
Sorry. Is he wearing? Do you know what he's wearing on his hand?
I don't something, but he could describe it better than me. I know there's something there, but I can't tell you what. I didn't even look.
I love it. I don't even want to fucking look at him. I don't even want to look at him. What sucks for Mitchell Robinson.
That's what she said.
Is the fact that of course he's playing off that he's playing on a contract here. This he's an unrestricted free agent. He could go anywhere, and he does this to himself right before the championship game, and I got no clue why, and I have no idea we have no idea what's going on. But let's talk about the matchup, though. Let's talk about what's going on here. And I was looking at this preview, and I said this before, and I said this a couple days ago. I was more concerned in reference to playing OKC. No, I should rephrase that. I was more concerned about playing the Spurs than I was against it playing OKC, because I thought there was a better matchup. But as I'm looking deeper, and we did a little bit more of a deeper dive into this game and into this this series, I think I might like the Knicks potential to win the championship just as much with playing the Spurs than playing OKC. I think this is going to be the Wemby show. This is going to be for the New York Knicks. We're going to unleash the aggressiveness. We are going to go after the Wemby, the 2026 Defensive Player of the Year. I love how people say he's unguardable when tacking the rim directly. Well, I got some video we posted on Twitter of OG Anunoby during the Cup Championship, which we're not even going to talk about. We're not even going to bring it because it means fucking nothing. I watched him, OG Anunoby, who is much shorter, we should say, not smaller, because I think he's still bigger than Wemby, who was able to handle him well in the paint and literally frustrate him. And that's the thing we got to take a look at. Now, you're going to say what we're going to need to try to do, and I think what the Knicks are going to want to do, is pull Wemby away from the interior and get him out on the perimeter. And that's where the Knicks are going to have to do what they've been doing, which is run much of their offense through Karl-Anthony Towns. So the key is going to be, in my opinion, keep Wemby on the top of the paint. Keep him on the top of the key. Have him stretch out defensively. Doing that is going to allow Jalen Brunson to basically go downhill and attack the rim. It's going to be a lot easier for him to go down in the interior if Wemby's not there. Utilize the physicality of your wing play. That's going to be between Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Josh Hart. You always think, listen, I got to put this 7-footer up against this other 7-footer, but sometimes it is the physicality that you need to use with your guard position. You need to use that physicality between those three to overpower that young backcourt and even sometimes the front court that the Spurs have. I'm not saying Pat Riley. I'm not saying being an Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley. I'm not saying go out there and go for blood. But what I am saying is dictate the physicality of the game. Generate points off turnover and win the transition battle. And how do you do that if you're Knicks? You do that through defense. You do that through hardcore, gritty defense. The Knicks are going to have to find a way to own the offensive glass. They're going to have to excel at finding those missed shots. They're going to have to find a way. I'm not saying they have to dominate, but they have to show a willingness to crash the boards offensively for those second chance points, which will minimize the impact of the Spurs half court defense. I know I know you're sitting there telling, well, this sounds fucking easy. We should win this game sweep it and win it by 40. Well, no, of course that's not going to happen, but the Knicks are built for the playoffs. When we put this team together a couple of years ago, and one of the things I've always said is this team is of course built to win in the regular season, but they were built to beat the Celtics, and now they're built to beat most NBA teams throughout the league, not just the Eastern Conference. They have to have a physicality about them. And they have to go out and show that physicality. And they're going to have to maintain bench scoring. Now, the San Antonio second unit, which is powered by Dylan Harper, the kid from Rutgers, the one-year wonder from Rutgers, you're going to have to go after him. You can't let him do what he did to SGA. You're going to have to show that, you know what, our bench is just as deep and our bench is just as solid, even without Mitchell Robinson, because I like Ariel Hakaporti. I keep telling these people, do not sleep on Ariel. He is a little mermaid, but don't sleep on Ariel. Now, also, I want you to sleep on the fact that the Knicks won the head-to-head matchups this year 2-1, which of course included the finals, which was the 124-113 win. And then on the 31st, actually, no, it was weird. I forgot. They beat them on the 31st of December, 16th of December, then on the 31st. No, I'm sorry. The Spurs beat the Knicks 134-132. That's when, what's his name? The Julian, I can't think of his name, had that career high game. And then they beat them again the next day on March 1st, 114-89. That's when Malik Bridges put up 25 points, I believe, and like 5 steals. But you're going to need to dictate. You are going to need to go after these younger players. Now, I'm not saying the Knicks are old, but you're going to have to show the physicality. You're going to have to show why this team rides deep, why this team has the ability with the likes of Clarkson, with the likes of course, Landry Shamet, with Miles McBride coming off the bench. You know, you're going to have to use that bench depth to a point. But and you also, like I said, you're going to have to keep Karl-Anthony Towns out of foul trouble. You got to keep him out of early foul trouble. That's what we're going to have to do. And that's one of the biggest things we're going to have to do. And I do think, like I said, you're going to have to keep Karl-Anthony Towns and or OG Anunoby on Wemby. Beat him up a little bit, push him around a little bit, get him, get him fresh. If you get Wemby, I call him Wimpy. You get him frustrated. That's what you're going to need to do. You frustrate him. And you're going to have to find a way to make sure that Castle and DeAndre Fox, who are going to bear main responsibility for slowing Jalen Brunson down. These guys are disruptors. These guys can disrupt rhythm, and if they start forcing the ball out of his hands, especially when when it's needed for the Knicks, you could see that half court engine for the Knicks stall. But like I said, that's where the second chance opportunities are going to be so big. I'm not worried about Castle. I'm not worried about Fox. I'm really looking at this. I keep looking at this team for the Spurs. And I like I said, I'm not overly disturbed by the bench. At times they will go 5 deep on the bench, but you're talking their biggest bench players are Johnson and Harper, and all the other guys are 2-3 minute guys. Wemby's going to play 40. He's going to have to play 42, 46 minutes a game. He's got to play between 42 and 46 minutes a game, because this is not going to be a moment. Now, Wemby in 64 games this season only averaged 29 minutes a game. Now, of course, he still put up 25 points and 11.5 rebounds, but he's only played 29. So that's why you're going to have to go after him. That's why you're going to have to attack him. That's why you're going to have to push him around. OKC showed that you can push this kid around. But like I said, when I start looking at the Knicks bench and I look at the Knicks depth, I'm like, okay, we have something here, and we have something that could be special right now. Because like I said, we also, I still forget about Jose Alvarado. Jose Alvarado is one of the, he's like I said, like I've called him on the show before, the angry Chihuahua. Because he's that little chihuahua that's biting at your ankles. He could be a guy that can come for 10, 15 minutes a game and put up some time. And like I said, once you get to that point, like I said, we're going to have to see what Mitchell Robinson can do. But like I said, I'm okay for 10 minutes as a breather with Ariel Hakaporti. And I've said it before. I've said it a million times on the show. Ariel Hakaporti reminds me of Ken the Animal Bannister. Number 1 from the 80s. Ken the Animal Bannister's only job was to knock your dick in the dirt. That was his job. His job was to foul you. His job was to get rebounds. His job was to be the animal. That's why Ariel Hakaporti reminds me of that. Ariel, not much of an offensive game, but he can play defense, he can rebound, and he can hit his free throws. That's going to be something different with Mitchell Robinson. But if you play with the fluidity of Brunson, Anunoby, Anthony Towns, Josh Hart, and Bridges, you have something there. You have something special right there. Right now, it may take, especially in San Antonio, it may take them a little time to get everything together. But once they do, I do continue to think they are going to be extremely special in this playoff. This is a Knicks season in my mind. I see the Knicks potentially losing game 1, but taking the series 4-1. Not potentially. The Knicks are going to take the game. The Knicks are going to take the series 4-1. Everyone laughed at me for the last 2 series. I kept calling a sweep. Kept saying it's sweep. Next series, sweep. You know what? I'm calling it 4-1 New York Knicks. We're going to finally celebrate a championship. First one since 1973. We're going to party like it's 1973. This is Tim. This is New York Knicks Unleashed, and I'm out of here.